What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be ranking what I call the Human Jason trilogy: Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 3, and Friday the 13th, the final chapter. These three movies feature Jason before he becomes the unstoppable zombie version introduced later in the series. During this era, Jason feels like a real man hunting his victims. He runs, hides, stalks, and thinks strategically, making these films my favorite era of the franchise. I'll be ranking them based on the pacing, kills, characters, atmosphere, final girl, Jason's design, and the finale. Remember, this is just my opinion, so let me know your ranking in the comments. Coming in at number 3 is Friday the 13th Part 2. Even though it's last on my list, I still really enjoy this movie. Being last doesn't make it a bad film, it just has the toughest competition. The pacing is pretty solid throughout the movie. It takes its time introducing the counselors before Jason begins his hunt. While there are slower moments, they help build suspense and make the camp feel believable. The movie never feels boring, but compared to the next two films, it's the weakest in this category. The kills are simple but effective. Since this was still early in the franchise, they weren't trying to outdo every previous movie with extreme gore. Jason's attacks feel brutal and realistic, and they help establish him as a terrifying new killer. While the kill count isn't the most memorable in the series, they're still enjoyable. The characters are decent overall. Some stand out more than others, while a few don't leave much of an impression. They're likable enough that you don't mind spending time with them before Jason starts picking them off. Camp Crystal Lake has a creepy atmosphere that works really well. The woods, cabins, and isolation make it feel like Jason could appear at any second. It's not my favorite atmosphere in the trilogy, but it definitely creates suspense. Ginny Field is easily one of the smartest final girls in the franchise. She uses psychology to understand Jason and even tricks him by dressing as his mother. That's one of the smartest moments in the entire series. She's my fifth favorite final girl, and she absolutely earns her place among the best. The sackhead Jason is underrated and different from every other version. Even though the hockey mask wasn't introduced yet, the burlap sack gives Jason a creepy and settling appearance. It's simple but effective. The finale is where I have mixed feelings. The confrontation between Ginny and Jason is exciting, especially when she pretends to be Pamela Voorhees. However, the ending becomes a little questionable with the dreamlike fake-out. It's still entertaining, but it's my least favorite ending of the Human Jason trilogy. Overall, Friday the 13th Part 2 is a fun slasher that successfully introduced Jason as the main killer and laid the foundation for everything that came afterward. Taking second place is the final chapter. This movie starts immediately after the events of Part 3, making it feel like one continuous story. Right from the opening, the movie wastes no time getting back into the action. The pacing is excellent. Once Jason escapes from the hospital, the movie keeps moving with very few slow moments. Every scene builds toward another encounter with Jason, making it one of the fastest-paced films in the franchise. This movie has some of the goriest kills in the Human Jason trilogy. Thanks to Tom Savini's effects, every kill feels brutal and memorable. They're creative, violent, and exactly what fans expect from a classic Friday the 13th movie. This is probably my biggest criticism of the film. Outside of Jimmy, most of the teenage characters aren't very memorable. Jimmy is easily the standout because he's funny, relatable, and genuinely likable. The rest of the group doesn't have much personality compared to the cast from Part 3. The atmosphere is incredibly tense. Jason feels more dangerous than ever before. Every time he appears, there's a constant feeling that nobody is safe. This is easily the scariest movie in the Human Jason trilogy. Trish Jarvis is an excellent final girl and ranks as my third favorite in the franchise. She protects her younger brother, stands up to Jason, and refuses to give up even when everything seems hopeless. She's brave, determined, and one of the strongest survivors in the series. I honestly think this Jason design is underrated. The cracked hockey mask, damaged clothing, axe wound from Part 3, and darker appearance make him look intimidating. He feels like Jason has survived an entire nightmare and kept coming back. It's one of the most overlooked designs in the franchise. The finale is intense from beginning to end. The battle inside the Jarvis house keeps the tension high, and Tommy shaving his head to distract Jason is one of the most memorable moments in the franchise. The ending is satisfying and closes out the human Jason storyline in a strong way. Overall, the final chapter is one of the scariest Friday the 13th movies ever made and a fantastic ending to the human Jason era. My number one pick is Friday the 13th Part 3. Not only is this my favorite movie in the human Jason trilogy, but it's also my favorite movie in the entire Friday the 13th franchise. The pacing is excellent. The movie balances time with the characters while constantly reminding you that Jason is nearby. Every scene builds anticipation until everything explodes in the third act. The kills are fantastic. They perfectly balance creativity and brutality. My favorite kill is easily Andy's legendary handstand kill, which remains one of the greatest kills in the entire franchise. Nearly every death scene is memorable and helps make this movie so entertaining. This movie has my favorite cast in the franchise. The group feels natural, believable, and fun to watch. They actually feel like friends spending the weekend together, making their deaths much more impactful. Higgins Haven is my favorite location in the entire Friday the 13th series. The barn, the lake, the woods, and the isolated property create the perfect horror setting. Every location feels memorable, and I never get tired of revisiting it. For me, this is the best atmosphere in the entire franchise. Chris Higgins is my favorite final girl of all time. She has a personal connection with Jason that makes the story feel more emotional than most entries. She refuses to quit, fights back throughout the climax, and gives Jason one of his toughest battles. For me, no final girl tops Chris Higgins. This is my favorite Jason design ever. It's the first time Jason wears the hockey mask, instantly creating one of horror's most iconic looks. Richard Brooker's physical performance is phenomenal, making Jason feel fast, aggressive, intelligent, and terrifying. This is the definitive Jason Voorhees. The finale is incredible. Chris and Jason's fight inside Higgins Haven and throughout the barn is one of the greatest climaxes in horror. I also love how the movie spends most of its runtime showing Jason hiding in the background, stalking his victims before fully revealing himself during the third act. That slow build makes Jason feel like a true predator, and it makes the final showdown even more rewarding. Everything about this movie comes together perfectly. The pacing, atmosphere, characters, kills, Jason's design, and the unforgettable finale make Friday the 13th Part 3 not only the best human Jason movie, but my favorite movie in the franchise. I know a lot of people put the final chapter at number 1, and I completely understand why. It's a fantastic movie and easily one of the strongest entries in the series, but for me, nothing beats the atmosphere of Higgins Haven, Richard Brooker's performance as Jason, Chris Higgins as the final girl, and the legendary hockey mask debut in Part 3. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know your ranking of the human Jason trilogy down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.